Up, y'all? So I found my notes, my original notes from like the childhood trauma stuff that I was telling y'all about in the last video, and I guess I'm gonna read it to y'all. All right, so it says early childhood trauma, neglect, failed to care for properly. So I don't know what space I was in when I wrote these notes, but it was basically, I believe it was along the lines of kind of like doing a backtrack of what took place for myself and some of the steps that I used as far as trying to recover from it. So these are the notes that I was writing. And then I did the definition of trauma, which is a deeply distressing or disturbing experience. It can be a physical injury, an emotional response. Come on, an emotional response to a terrible event like an accident, rape, or natural disaster. Shock and denial are typically immediately after the event. So before I continue to read everything else that I have on here, I can say that these things are true. So the emotional response to an event, all of those things that take place, definitely brings about the shock that it actually happened, for one, and two, you become, I guess you deny what even happened. Like for me, it was like, oh, I can't believe this. Like, bro, me? Like, what's up with me? What's wrong with me? Like, why this had to happen to me? Or whatever. Like, did I deserve this? Did something take place that I don't remember that caused this or whatever? And I don't know what I was telling y'all, but basically, pretty much, let me skim through real quick. Okay, being in denial and shock after a traumatizing event. I think most of the things that I have been through or experienced, it was definitely some fear. When my foot got ran over was probably one of the scariest moments for me, where I cried. I was depressed. I actually thought that I wasn't going to be able to walk again. I remember even going into the emergency room that day. I don't think I had surgery until the next morning. I don't think it was immediate. I can't remember. But whatever it was, the very next day they had like this, I'm not going to call him a social worker. I don't know what he was. The workers' comp person came out, and I had a wheelchair, a walker, and a knee scooter or something like that. And I was just crying. I was so depressed. Like, what I did for this, like, whatever. Another traumatizing event for me was, I don't know. This is when I was older, most definitely. I had already had 2 of my children, I believe. And I was pregnant with my 3rd child. My girls were here for sure. But my cousin had a situation. I won't go into the details of it, but basically, she worked for the courts or whatever, and there were something going on with her working there that took place, and I spent the night to her house with my children, and we were asleep. So I heard this banging on the door. I was like, okay, maybe I'm tripping or something. So then I heard it again, like boom, 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 boom. Open up. So I was like, oh snap. I think I either went into my cousin's room, let her know like, hey, somebody at the door, or whatever it was, but I immediately remember going back to my children. And by then, as I was walking back up, the police took like one of them, this not a barricade, but they took one of those things and bust the door open and made everybody get out. And it was like, what in the world is going on? My children are crying. It was just like, what's up? They took our phones. Oh my gosh, all the electronic devices in there. They took everything. My kids crying. They are scared. I was scared, but more so on a level of, safety for my children. So from there, I think that was one of the probably first experiences where I felt like I had to protect my children at all costs. They shouldn't see and hear all type of things. These are stuff that they will remember. So as far as my kids go, I believe that incident was the beginning of any childhood trauma they may have experienced, or the beginning of something that made them scared to a point where they will always remember it. That was crazy. What else? So long-term reactions. It says unpredictable emotions, flashbacks, definitely. Oh my goodness. I don't be in everybody's houses. I'm cool in my own house. I don't have to be around you and your people. If I'm in my house, I feel like I control what goes on in my house. I control who's there, what have you, whatever, however. I run my house. I know what I got going on, and I know what I'm allow and not allow. Not necessarily saying that situation was something that she allowed, but it put me in a place where I'm watching everything. Like, oh my goodness, if I'm sitting somewhere in some type of setting, 9 times out of 10, probably 10 times out of 9, however you want to put it, I am going to be sitting in a position where I can see the door, where I can see who coming in, what. I'm scoping the building out. I'm looking like, what's up, or whatever. So it made me attentive to my surroundings more than anything, and that's something I most definitely teach the kids. So the flashbacks from these traumatizing events definitely are real. It says strained relationships, even physical symptoms like a headache or nausea. As far as strained relationships, I feel like the trauma you experience can make you a certain type of way. You're always like closed in on what it is that you feel, how it made you react. So you treat everything like that time that you were traumatized. So if you start getting something that seems familiar from that time that you had that trauma, you're going to react a certain way. For a long time, people used to say like, boy, you just live a dark life. You always watching First 48 and Snap and all that. Like, what you trying to kill? Like, they used to, they just used to be so pressed about my reaction to things and how I took things moving forward. Even if they didn't know why, they knew it was something there that was causing me to react that way. So, yeah. I remember my first time experiencing I guess you could call them migraines. Couldn't really understand it. One time I passed out from it. My very first time. That's how I found out I was pregnant, really. We were on like the cat bus or whatever it was, the local bus station, got on the bus. And at this point, I used to walk everywhere. We kids, we ain't got no cars. Me and my cousin would walk everywhere around the city, definitely downtown, wherever we could be. We was walking there. It wasn't nothing for us. And then once we got in an area that offered a free shuttle or free bus services, we'll jump on the bus to get to the next side of town or whatever, however. But this particular time I started feeling lightheaded, I'm guessing. And I just passed out. I don't know if I woke up before then, but I definitely remember waking up. And I was in the hospital, and that's when I found out I was pregnant. So that's that. And since then, I would have moments in my life throughout the years where I would wake up with a headache. It would be so severe where I would have to turn off all the lights and go to sleep and wake up the next day and hope it's gone. So yeah. All right, so signs of trauma. It says startled or frightened, on guard for danger. Definitely on guard. Like I just told y'all, I'm sitting at the restaurants, I'm sitting in public. I got to see who coming in and out the door. Like, what's up? I gotta be on my toes because of the things that took place from my childhood. I just felt like I always had to be on alert. I was gonna try you before you tried me, and you was about to play with me all type of ways. That was just that. Self-destructive behavior, driving fast, drinking. Those are things that did take place for me. It was to a point where anytime I got in my vehicle, I had to have a Black and Mild or some weed. I think to this day my parents don't know that I smoked or drank because I always kept it respectful, never did it around them. They're gonna know now from this video, but hey, it's whatever, that's the past. Drinking, and then with drinking, once you become intoxicated, you just really have no control or don't care or have a desire to want to control yourself. So you're just wilding. I remember going to clubs. I would only drink one type of drink, and it was the strongest drink in the club, and it was called like a blue MF, or like whatever they put in that drink. That's what I had. 4-5 rounds of just drinking, whatever. Go out the back door, go down the street, sit in my car, smoke, come back in the club, whatever. However, as long as there was music playing, as long as there was a good vibe, I was up. But as soon as it got dead, like on my way home, and when it was just me, I used to struggle to stay up in the car. Never got in an accident with drunk driving until probably 7-8 years ago. I remember leaving a bar. I knew I was drunk. I didn't think I was sleepy, but some way or another, I was riding down a street called MLK. And on MLK, I remember being in the left-hand lane, trying to make it back to wherever I was staying at that point, or wherever I was going. I can't tell you how I made it home to this day. I remember hitting the sidewalk and waking up or whatever. So I knew I was asleep after I hit the sidewalk and was like, God, dog. Woke up, continued to drive down the street. I must have fell asleep again. I don't know. I made it, parked the car in the middle of the street, and went in the house and went to sleep, whatever. However, that next morning I came outside and noticed that a hubcap was missing. So I was like, dang, that must have been what that noise was the night before when I hit the curve and kept going. Oh my gosh, it was by the grace of God that I made it. But anyway, driving fast. Oh my goodness. I ain't had no problem driving fast. Matter of fact, I did not like driving with other people in my car. I felt like, my car was like almost like a safe haven where I can just be in the car and it's just me, my thoughts, and my music. the 412s, the whatever in the trunk, knocking to whatever songs I want to listen to at that moment that was going to get me through the rest of the ride. But I'm definitely driving fast to try to hurry up and get there. To this day, I do not like driving, so it was crazy. And there was another time we went to Myrtle Beach, me, my best friend, our boyfriends, or whoever we was dating at that time, went to Myrtle Beach, and I had got so drunk. I can't tell you what I did. Whatever I did, he was pretty upset that I had allowed myself to get that drunk. So he was talking about leaving, all this stuff, and I had the car, so I took the car and I drove off the whole strip on Myrtle Beach. I don't know how fast I was going. He calling. I answered the phone, was like, no, because you don't want to be with me, blah, 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 blah. I'm about to kill myself. Like, it was just that serious. So it was like, looking back, it's like, come on, dog. Like, come on, dog. When I tell you my life experiences and my trauma has made me on point, like bossed up. Nah, I be wishing the would. But nah, I can't live like that. But I feel like the things that took place in my younger years, where I barely had control over it, didn't know much about life or whatever, those things kind of got me through who I became to be. Like, you just wasn't going to play with me. You just wasn't. I had a standard of the things that took place. Definitely, with the first situation, you guys can go back and watch that video. But after that situation in the My Story video, I felt like a man was never going to try me again. So that's what I kind of live by. Like, if I got any type of signs, hint, or whatever that you was about to play with me, I'm coming for you. So that's that. Where are we? Okay, so the next one says signs. So signs of trauma is, that's what I was reading. Okay, we did the self-destructive behavior, driving fast, all of that. Okay, trouble sleeping, trouble concentrating, irritability, anger, aggressive behavior, overwhelming, guilt or shame. So let's start with trouble sleeping and concentrating. You gotta know that after the whole situation with the police busting in the door, sleep ain't came easy. I don't know how long it took me before I could be well rested, but sleeping, it wasn't going to catch me off guard sleeping. So most of what took place during that time, I was most definitely up. I will be up at night while the rest of the house would sleep. Like I said earlier, I felt like I was the protector. So if anything go down, I'm up. I'm on my toes. What's up? So I definitely had a lot of trouble sleeping, and I was on guard. I guess like the military or something, when they put you on watch overnight. That was me, man. That was me. Man, I could honestly say that was one of the first moments in my life where I remember being a light sleeper. Now, I'm talking about, I don't care what's going on in my house. All I can hear, I'm up. I'm going to see. So that was me. Concentrating, yeah, to a degree. Definitely no concentration at first. When my foot first got ran over, it was hard for me to process. I would feel like from the medication that I could not focus or concentrate on the things that I should have. Even along the lines of the memory, I feel like I blocked out a lot of things that took place. I didn't want to remember it. I didn't want to feel those emotions that took place during that time. So I will block out that they even happen, that they even exist. Angry. I was that angry person. I just told y'all earlier. People felt like I was just always watching dark stuff. 1,000 Ways to Die. Like I'm on all that stuff. Action, mystery stuff, unsolved mysteries. I think I became the man from Unsolved Mysteries, okay? But it has a plus side to it, because you can't really get too much past me. I guess you could say I'm an overthinker, and I don't care. I'm gonna think about it 4-5 ways. Out of 4 or 5 of them ways, two of them I'm locking in on you. I done got you. And hardly ever am I wrong. So about how I feel, how I pick up on people, whatever, however, just know I see you. But nah. Guilt, we talked about that. Overwhelmed, definitely. Crying, all of that stuff. Shame. Man, like I said, when y'all go back and watch the My Story video, I did feel shame, hurt. Like, you know how many people wanted to do something with me, and then I held myself for whatever reason. You know, I'm a child, so it wasn't no big rush to do anything. But after that happened, and I wrote the letter to one of my classmates, it was instant shame. I felt like she put me on the spot. I'm up here in front of all of these people, whatever, however. So there was definitely some shame, even with my foot being ran over. Me having to get the disabled tag and all of that. It was like, oh my gosh, look how young I am. And now I'm disabled. Now I got to ride around this handicap sticker. Like, this ain't cool. So yeah, I felt all of those things. What's up? I felt all of those things. All right. It says the most severe type of trauma is chronic, long-term, affecting the sense of safety in the world, and that's complex trauma. Yeah, that is true as well. Like I said before, even down to my kids, like, we not about to be all type of places. I don't ride around certain sides of town with my children. I'ma protect them first. Now I be feeling like I'm pretty solid where I'm at, like I could defend myself. But as far as my children go, nah, they still need my protection. So I don't put them in all type of situations or whatever. Like, I want to always protect them from the world, down to going to school. I ain't even with them going to school like that. But that's another story. Okay, ways to heal. It says exercise and help repair the nervous system. I can't really say I agree or disagree. There was a period where I would try to go walk around. I guess you could say I felt some sense of relief of everything that took place, but those quiet times, those walks, was more so on the mental side. Connecting with others. I can't really say that I have reached that point yet, because of everything that took place. I really feel like a lot of people will have sympathy for me. A lot of people would baby me. And not only that, I feel like one of the first times that I opened up about it with the person that I was dating, it ended up being just pillow talk, So he told whoever else he was seeing, and then this altercation comes with me and this female, and she's telling me what I done went through. Like, it was like a joke. Like, yeah, that's why you got raped, blah, 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 whatever, however. Like, it was no big deal. So, connecting with others, I haven't gotten there. Not on that level where I can open up. Now, if it's some different type of connecting with others, I guess maybe being around people, period. I don't know. I feel like I still be on high alert with folks. I gotta see what you got going on. Then it says volunteer and ask for support. Volunteer, kinda. So, one thing about me, like I said, I figure, or I feel like everything that I went through kind of put me on a research mode or detective mode, so I can look up some stuff. Even if I'm not fluent in the area or I don't know, much of what's going on, if you ask me to do something, I most definitely can get it done. And I feel like that was an advantage from what I went through. I had a lot of time on my hands to do research. Definitely with the last trauma, which was the foot injury, it allowed me to investigate. I'll say that. Asking for support, I would say no, because like I said, then that'd be putting people in your business. And I feel like folks just want to know your business without really helping you or having a solution for you. Now that's just another person that knows your story type job. Scriptures. I have Psalms 147:3. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. And the other scriptures that I have that I did not write out was Psalms 56:8. 2 Corinthians 4:16. Matthew 5 verses 4 and 5. Psalms 34:18. Isaiah 66:2. Psalms 91. And then Psalms 4 and 6. Then I also have Psalms 43 verse 5. Lamentations chapter 3 verses 31 through 33. Isaiah 25:4. And 1 Peter 54. My bad, y'all. 1 Peter 5:7. I can put those in the comments. But these were my original notes before I posted the My Story video. And I just couldn't find them. And it was getting on my nerves. I don't misplace stuff. So this paper was something that I was really looking for. But I went ahead and did the first video anyway. All of this is going to tie into one. So, some ways. What can I say as far as ways to avoid the trauma? It's life. Things are going to happen. So I guess there's really no way to avoid trauma. But you can most definitely overcome those things that you go through. If you are a person who can talk to somebody and you don't have a problem with it, talk to somebody. I have journals. Do I have any in here? I have journals, notebooks, whatever, however, where I write down my thoughts and how I was feeling for that day. Mostly whatever I'm feeling. How this made me feel, how that made me feel. But I don't ever go back and read them. I pretty much write them, pray over them, whatever, however, those things that I want the Lord to heal me from concerning what took place. I'll ask for healing and deliverance from that until it's over with. But for an overall view of my early childhood trauma, I feel like it came from the neglect, you know what I'm saying? The failure to care for me properly, as a parent, even as family. Not just providing, but being there mentally. I can't really ever say that I had a deep conversation with my parents. When they would get upset, they'll say whatever here and there, but an actual one-on-one where I'm not saying I wanted to be my mom and my daddy homegirl or homeboy, whatever, however, you know what I'm saying? But as far as the important conversations that could have took place, should have, even down to my first home or apartment or whatever you want to call it. I can remember getting on government assistance, and my dad was so upset. He was like, I raised y'all better than that. We ain't had y'all in no projects. He just was like, he went off. But living on my own gave me the experience that I didn't have at home. You know what I'm saying? I was home. I was green. I had no self-defense. I pretty much went with whoever said whatever. I was easy to get over on. And once I started living or experiencing life for myself, it took a whole nother turn on how I viewed life and what was supposed to happen. Like I said, you couldn't try me. Still can't. But you definitely could not try me once I figured out what was what, and that I didn't have to accept all type of things. So yeah, man, I try to live through what took place. Even now, I feel like I have really gotten to a point where I could discuss it. I could look back on it, and it's not the emotional drag that it used to have on me. Ain't really no tears. Now, sometimes, some days I could be in prayer. I can be thanking the Lord for, allowing me to get past those moments and cry like, oh my goodness, like, Lord, you kept me. But other than that, I can just say for the next person, to figure out how to get through it. Talk to your people, go to therapy or whatever it is that you feel will help you. Even with therapy, I remember one of my first sessions at therapy, and I was just telling this lady like all of my business at that time, whatever. I don't even know who took me to therapy, but I was telling this lady all of my business, and I began to cry as I looked back. And most of the stuff I couldn't remember. Even now, I don't know the timeline of the events that took place. I just know I went through them, I experienced them, and that's my truth. So I would say don't block it out. Go ahead and heal and recover from it. Go ahead and feel those feelings that needs to take place, that are required to get past it. And that's where I'm at with it now. Like, I don't want to take none of this trauma, none of this childhood trauma, none of this stuff into a marriage where my husband has to deal with stuff I'm still struggling with as a child, even down to not having no money. And in one relationship, not having money and had a job, but it was so much responsibility that I felt like I took on in this relationship where it drained me, and I didn't have any money to show for what I worked for. Worked overtime, 2-3 jobs, whatever, however. It was no big deal because I love working, and I felt like working kept me away from all the things that was taking place at the house, all the things that I went through. Working kept my mind on other things. But moving forward now, I just feel like I don't even want to work no more. I don't want to work for anybody. I really just want to be in a space where I can help somebody else get through whatever it is that they're going through. Like, I cannot stand childhood trauma. I have a friend who, not to put y'all in these folks' business, but I have a friend who has custody of their child. The other parent did not want the child, and whatever reason, the child lives with my friend. And I get it. I understand that because of all the trauma that the child went through in this whole process, my friend has this child like close. The child can talk to you all type of way. The child can do whatever the child wants to do, and you let that child slide because of the things that he's been through. You know what I'm saying? I ain't playing that. And I dislike that. You could pray for the child, have some type of sympathy, but it should not be to a strong point where you cannot discipline the child. So even when I see this child, it's like, it's heartbreaking for me. But then the child's attitude have me like, stay where you at, because I don't like no grown kids either. But I don't know. We have to have sympathy for people, taking into consideration the things that we may have went through. So I'm working on that part of it. And I'm just really thinking, or have been thinking over the years, if I really wanted to be like a counselor for children experiencing trauma. You don't have to run away from home. Your parents ain't got to send you off nowhere. Man, in fact, I don't know if it was boarding school or something that my mama sent my brother off to, but I feel like he ain't did nothing for him. Maybe in that time, it gave him maybe some life learning skills, workforce skills or something. But the man probably, I'm not going to say the worst out of all of us, but I just feel like whatever that program was, it might have did more damage than good. He is one of the more disrespectful kids. And it's just like, So if I could leave anything with you guys, I would say do a self-evaluation of yourself, the things that you went through, and try to prevent those things from happening in your current situations. Overcome those feelings. Seek help. And don't be so boxed in to where you just have a one-track mind. Like, I only know how to tie my shoe this way, so everybody got to tie their shoe this way. You're not going to be able to work with other people. You're not going to be able to get along with folks. It is going to be an emotional thing for you where you're always struggling mentally. So break free from that stuff, y'all. I gave y'all some scriptures that y'all can take with y'all. I'm going to post them, but break free from the childhood